get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Israelis have started removing yellow ribbons and other signs of mourning now that the remains of the last Gaza hostage have been returned.
Israelis now say this is a sign of closure and it's time to move ahead. Many people on Tuesday removed those yellow pins and ribbons, and in a final symbolic act, thousands of people gathered in a Tel Aviv square to halt a clock that had ticked for 843 days, marking the hostages' time in captivity. This now clears the way for Israel and Hamas to move ahead with President Donald Trump's Gaza ceasefire plan. That next step is expected to be the reopening of Gaza's Rafah border crossing with Egypt. This crossing is Gaza's main gateway to the outside world, and it has been closed for most of the past 20 months. Thousands of people on both sides of the border are waiting to cross. We are expected to see some sort of reopening and the beginning of movement in the coming days.
Correspondent Joe Fetterman, townhall.com. That 77-pound mountain lion caused quite a stir as it wandered the streets of San Francisco's Pacific Heights neighborhood.
The 2-year-old wildcat was first spotted on Monday morning and captured Tuesday. Residents watched from windows as officials worked to tranquilize the animal. Roxanne Blank, who saw the cat near her home, initially mistook it for a dog. Authorities found the mountain lion hiding in a garden and used tranquilizers to safely capture it. The San Francisco Zoo will examine the cat before releasing it back into the wild. Keith Peters, Washington.
Consumer confidence, measured by the Conference Board, has declined sharply this month, hitting the lowest level since 2014. Americans apparently growing increasingly concerned about their financial prospects. The board's Consumer Confidence Index dropped even below the lowest readings of the COVID-19 pandemic era. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. It's cold here in Nashville, and as you can see, I'm all bundled up. The studio's warm, but outside it's very, very cold. It is time for the Morning Rundown, brought to you every day at this time by our friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here's the Morning Rundown for Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Number one. Arctic cold continues in the United States. Middle Tennessee is hit hard. Power outages are worst in the country in the state of Tennessee. 130,000 people still out of power in the state of Tennessee. 106 of those are in the city of Nashville. They've been out of power for 4 days now, with slow movement towards restoring it. Some say some parts of town may take another week or two. Nashville Electric Service CEO, an accountant, and Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, a Democrat, are under deep criticism for a number of things in not responding well to the storm. Tom Pappert will have that story for us at the bottom of the hour. Number two, the Minnesota anti-ice riots have been de-escalated a bit. Tom Homan has taken over things in Minneapolis. He met with Governor Walz and Mayor Fry yesterday. They, however, remain publicly defiant. They don't seem to want to cooperate with federal law enforcement, and they don't want to enforce immigration laws. Number three, federal district judges in Minnesota appear to ignore the law. They won't issue arrest warrants to rioters. There's plenty of cause, and they have huge conflicts. The chief judge there, Philip Schlitz, wait for it, is a donor to the Immigration Law Center. Legal expert Phil Klein will join us in our next segment to talk about that. Number four, more Trump account details for kids will be announced this morning. We had an invite to go up there and wish we could have, but with this weather, I don't think it'd be very good. But Michael Dell will be there, Bill Ackerman. They're going to talk about the details of basically giving $1,000 to every kid in the country born this past year and in 26 to kind of build up their own personal equity fund. How about that? I think it's a good idea. We may have a spokesperson from the Treasury Department in hour 2 on that, but don't plan on it. Number 5, Ilhan Omar. Was she attacked yesterday? We've got the clip. We'll play it. You decide. Was this staged or was it an attack? Kind of looks more staged than not to me. Number 6, a Democrat candidate for Attorney General in Ohio says he wants to kill Donald Trump, but do it legally. Are you kidding me? Tom Zalestowski from Ohio will join us in hour 2 to talk about that. Number 7, in the land of, are you kidding me? Metro Nashville Public Schools announced a partnership with leftist former NFL football player Colin Kaepernick last week. They're going to work together jointly on an AI product. Yeah, AI can propagandize your kids faster than teachers can, right? And the leftist Colin Kaepernick is going to lead that charge. And number 8, the one, the only Sean Farash, if all goes well, will be here with us in the 3rd hour of the program. So there you go. That's the Morning Rundown, brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. For years, you've been hearing me talk about how the Glock Store is everything Glock. Hey, that's why Lenny McGill, the founder and CEO, named it the Glock Store. Have you heard about the latest Glocks, the Gen 6? Well, you can bet Lenny has. Lenny tells me the new Gen 6 Glocks have a new optic system, RTF6 texturing, an enlarged beaver tail, flat face trigger guard undercut, and an integrated thumb rest, also known as the gas pedal. Honestly, I don't know what all that stuff does, but Lenny does. Lenny tells me the Gen 6 Glocks are definitely the most refined Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, the Glock Store has already received their first shipment of Gen 6 G17s, 19s, and 45s, and they were literally gone before they even arrived at the warehouse. That's because Glock Store is letting you pre-order these new Glocks, so you'll be the one to get your hands on it first. And as a thank you for your pre-order, you'll get an extra magazine when you receive your new Gen 6 Glock. Here's what you do. Go to GlockStore.com, click on the Gen 6 tab at the top of the website, place your pre-order for the Glock or Glocks of your choice. Now, when they ship your new Glock to the FFL of your choice, or you pick it up at the Glock Store retail showroom here in Nashville, the Glock Store will throw in an extra magazine. But you got to hurry on this one. It is a limited time offer, only for pre-orders, and only from my friends at the Glock Store, the #1 source for Glock parts, accessories, and the new Gen 6 Glocks. Visit GlockStore.com today. I promise you'll be glad you did. Okay, so Minnesota. You know, it's been riots, anti-leftist, organized leftist riots, and 2 people were killed there, one by an ICE agent and the other by a Border Patrol agent. And now this is, there's all sorts of aggravation and criticism coming from weak-kneed Republicans about it. And, of course, the Democrats are, literally up in arms about it. Donald Trump has basically said Greg Bovino, who was the kind of the Border Patrol guy at large who was sent in there, is out of Minneapolis. And Tom Homan's been sent in. Now, Tom doesn't have direct line responsibility. He's a border czar, but he's got a lot of experience on it. The Border Patrol, they have a distinct job, which is to defend the border. They're not ICE. They're not interior immigration guys. And so Trump is recalibrating it. Trump is basically saying, and he's trying to, de-escalate. But some people are saying, you're caving into the leftists. Here's Trump responding to that. Clip 12.
Is this a pullback?
I don't think it's a pullback. It's a little bit of a change. Everybody in this room that has a business, you make little changes. Bovino is very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy. And in some cases, that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here. But you have to understand, when I watch some of the people that I've been watching over the last few weeks, these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid agitators. These people aren't normal, like, that, they're incensed about anything. How do you get incensed when you go into a state and you're taking criminals out? You're taking monsters out, murderers. We had 11,888 murderers let into our country. by other countries, by Biden with his open border stupid policy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You talk about bad policy. Open borders where people were coming, so the whole world, the Congo, Venezuela, all over the world, they're letting people in from their prisons and they're feeding them into the United States. And they're murderers and they're drug dealers and they're everything else you can think of, every bad name you can think of. And they let them in by the millions. We closed the border. You know, we have nobody coming into our country anymore.
Yeah, okay, so that's Trump on the offensive. I do think, though, that there are a number of things going on that are encouraging the insurrectionist blue state governor and blue state mayors to resist immigration law and immigration law enforcement. We'll get into that a little bit more later in the program. President Trump also yesterday, kind of changing the discussion, went to Iowa to give a speech about economics. He had some good news for economics. Here we go, clip 8.
And today I'm pleased to announce one more historic investment. The great American company that we just talked about is doing so much. I have to give it really. I buy so much equipment from so many of the people in the, you know, we have a lot of very successful companies in here, but I know it's a very special deal because John Deere is doing $70 million in factory in North Carolina. It's brand new, the best in the world. And I think it's going to pay off very, very big. And if it doesn't, I have nothing to do with it. But if it does, I'm going to take full credit.
Okay, so he's looking at changing the conversation. That's good, but ultimately we've got to deal with the insurrection. And right now it's sort of temporarily sort of de-escalated, but lots more to be done. Hey, when we get back, if all goes well, Phil Klein, legal expert, will be with us. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are joined by a leading legal expert in the country, former Attorney General for the state of Kansas, now a professor of law at Liberty University, the one, the only Phil Klein. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Michael.
What's going on in Minneapolis and Minnesota with the rulings of federal district judges and a magistrate that seem to make, A, no sense from a rule of law perspective, and B, have all sorts of conflict of interest problems. Let's start with the magistrate there, who would not authorize an arrest warrant for Don Lemon and others of the church invaders. This Micco fellow, his wife is Assistant Attorney General working for Keith Ellison. And then this the Chief Judge, Patrick Schlitz, has basically said he's given a lot of money to immigration law centers, and he's very critical of what ICE is doing. He's calling acting ICE Director Todd Lyons to come in to testify. Do we have a rogue federal judiciary in Minnesota?
Well, I think Judge Schlitz and his orders are well within his authority. And I don't, Michael, necessarily see any ethical conflict of interest because he gives to financial assistance to those who represent the poor. A lot of lawyers do that. A lot of lawyers devote their time there. And there's a concern when you try to classify as an unethical conflict of interest support for a class of persons. If there was an individualized relationship with a particular party before him, that is a conflict. But when you expand it to a class of persons whom you might have identified or provided support to in the past, then you virtually eliminate all engagement in civil society. And in fact, I faced that type of discrimination from my very own Supreme Court, a radical leftist Supreme Court in Kansas, who filed an ethical complaint against me because I was investigating abortion clinics for failure to report child rape, claiming that such an investigation was unethical because I myself was pro-life. Of course, that's absurd. I'm also anti-murder, and I investigate murderers. I'm anti-rape, I investigate rapists. So we get into problems when we try to classify the conduct of supporting a class of persons as disqualifying a person from a position in our culture or society, or removing them from a case. So Judge Schlitz is concerned that his previous orders were not followed. I think he made a little bit of a political statement when he said his patience had run out. I think that is a moral judgment before you even have the hearing to hear the government's explanation. I think that was overstated in the heat of the moment. Now, as it relates to the magistrate and an arrest warrant for Don Lemon, there's a concern here about the First Amendment. I think the magistrate perhaps should have allowed this to play out a little bit so that that concern could be raised in court. But I have concerns about the Department of Justice saying that a journalist, because they might be aware of an action that is going to take place, is a part of a conspiracy to disrupt, is concerning to me. I think it's overreach.
So, hold it, Phil.
Yeah.
Are you purporting that Don Lemon is actually a journalist?
Well, okay. I see your point. He's a poor journalist. We've got a lot of
well,
them these
but
days.
also, I mean, I understand the point, but you know, he wasn't being a journalist in this instance. I mean, he was part of it. He flew into Minneapolis for the purpose of documenting this church invasion, and then he interviewed the woman who was arrested, the ringleader, and said, "We are going to go to this key point, and we are going to disrupt the activity there." And then he went in and he participated in the disruption. I have a little less generous spirit for Don Lemon than apparently you do.
Participating in the disruption by doing what? Did he shout? Did he interfere with access? Did he interfere with space and assault somebody? Did he batter anybody? So, you know, journalists, we want them to be able to expose
he interfered with an ongoing church service. I mean, he went in and he badgered the pastor who was trying to deliver a sermon to the congregation. Anyway, we have a little different view on that. But
well, no, that participation might draw him over the line. But we have to recognize that for transparency and to support the First Amendment and the role of a journalist, they will at times be in places where people are engaged in illegal activity. The question is, did they afford support for it? Did they help facilitate it? That's when it becomes a conspiracy.
Isn't that an issue for the trial court to determine, not the magistrate judge?
Well, I would agree with you there. That's what I meant by the magistrate should have allowed this to flow out. But I also am really hesitant about a Department of Justice stepping in so quickly to engage in that type of activity against a journalist. You know, we need to dial this
I got to
down.
put the asterisk in there again. I mean, let me just say this. As a real journalist who's been threatened with being put in jail for contempt of court on phony charges, I got a real different attitude about this than Don Lemon does.
Well, I understand. I don't think Don Lemon is a good journalist, but that's not the point. You know, our Constitution doesn't differentiate in that fashion. So we've got to dial all of this down. Our Department of Justice needs to be more reserved in making announcements and also keeping its investigations focused on fact-finding rather than media appearances.
There's a lot of criticism of Pam Bondi for the way she's handled it. Would you be a critic of how she's handled it?
Well, I would just say the entire Department of Justice is very, very swift to draw factual conclusions prior to an investigation and prior to trying to understand what really happened. And that has harmed them. It's harmed them in the latest ICE shooting in Minnesota. It's harmed faith and trust, and we need to be more professional in how we approach this.
Yeah, interesting. Now, there's some talk that Democrats are going to want a very specific judicial hearing before any warrants are issued for illegal immigrants. That will totally stop deportation. What are your thoughts on that if it were to happen, Phil Klein?
Well, you know, the procedural due process available to an illegal immigrant is greatly diminished from a U.S. citizen, as it should be.
Yeah, right.
And courts have already handled this process. So they will need a change in law to accomplish that, and I don't think that change would pass.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think it passed easier. Last question on what's going on in the Senate on that, sort of related. Do you see the likelihood that Republicans will get rid of the filibuster this session? Because the Democrats, if they take control, have said they will get rid of it and just run roughshod over the law.
Well, I think there's a chance. I think what we have seen on the left is it's no holds bar in the exercise of power, and Republicans will see that the niceties of something like a filibuster is really an impediment to accomplishing.
One last question. You live in Virginia now, Phil. Abigail Spanberger is the governor, and she's going full-on pro-illegal immigration. They're also trying to jam through redistricting. You had a state court judge reject the redistricting plan going on there. That's pretty significant. Have you followed that, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the judge made a common sense decision. He basically said, look, the legislature should follow its own rules in passing a constitutional amendment, and it did not. And secondly, elections start when people start voting, not when you deem it on election day, if over 1 million people have voted before election day. It was a common sense
Will that
decision.
ruling stand up, Phil?
I believe so.
Wow. Good news. One piece of good news from the state of Virginia. I was about to invite you to move to Tennessee, Phil, where we still have freedom. but does that give you a little glimmer of hope for Virginia?
Well, I'll tell you what, the legislature needs to revert back, and all across this nation, you and I have talked about it, Mike, the Republican Party needs to get a local ground game and get the money out of the consultants' pockets and into local activists.
Absolutely right. And that's one of the reasons, I think, why Virginia has gone blue and moving towards a land of authoritarianism. Phil, we still have room for you here in Tennessee, though, if it gets really bad there.
All right, thank you.
Phil Klein, professor of law at Liberty University, great legal expert. Phil, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Up next, Tom Pappert. What's going on with Nashville Electric Service? Why can't they get power back after 4 days in the storm? Is it political correctness and DEI? I think so. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
It's simple. No worker should ever be forced to pay money to a union boss just to get or keep a job. That's why hardworking Virginians overwhelmingly support Right to Work and agree that forced unionism is wrong. Unfortunately, Right to Work is under threat from radical state legislators who seek to overturn Right to Work and grant union bosses the power to have workers fired for refusing to pay union dues. Studies show that if they succeed in repealing Virginia's Right to Work law, it would cost the Commonwealth over 200,000 jobs. That's why it's vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to defend Right to Work in Virginia. With the General Assembly now in session, it's vital you make your voice heard today. Go to VirginiaRightToWork.com and demand your legislators and Governor Spanberger oppose forced unionism and protect Right to Work. Defend freedom and Virginia jobs today. Sign your petition at VirginiaRightToWork.com, paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
When you're learning something new, experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, and the winner, along with yours truly and Christina Botteri, our executive editor, of the Dow Prize for Best Local Journalism in the country last year, Tom Pappert. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
Well, we're 4 days into this big storm here in Nashville. Frigid temperatures, power outage all over the place. 4 days, and still about 20% of Nashville Electric Service customers are out of power. 4 days. Tennessee has the most people still out of power in the entire United States, 130,000. Most of them are in Nashville. Now, this is a big political problem because as we've been looking at it, the Nashville Electric Service Company is a municipally owned utility that serves Metro Nashville, Davidson County, and has 5 board members who are appointed by, wait for it, the mayor of Nashville. I don't think Nashville's done very well handling it. What are some of the criticisms here, Tom Pappert?
Well, Michael, it's been ongoing, and the city is disputing claims, which is never a good look after a natural disaster like an ice storm for the city to be splitting hairs. But there's been claims that the Nashville board has rejected offers for help from union electricians, meaning they only have 300 linemen versus up to 700 they could have had restoring service if they had worked with IBEW. There's also claims that the city failed to trim tree limbs prior to the storm. For months, if not years, they were inadequately just trimming the limbs along highways and streets, making it easier for such a disaster to happen. Now, the city has claimed that they are unaware of the source of most of these claims. They're calling them misinformation. But they did sort of admit, Mayor Freddie O'Connell admitted just yesterday that, well, they do have 700 linemen repairing, but it took a few days because they're depending on mutual aid agreements from other cities and municipalities. So perhaps they could have had 700 restoring electricity a little bit sooner.
Yeah, the bottom line, though, it's 4 days into the storm and 20% of Nashville doesn't have power. Meanwhile, another electric utility, Middle Tennessee Electric, which serves Williamson County and Wilson County and others, they've got very few outages. They've been very, very good. I live in Williamson County. They've been great, very responsive. And in fact, we'll play a little bit later. The CEO there has done a really good job of communicating. Now, let's look at the structure of Nashville Electric Service. There have been complaints that they're all kind of DEI run. The CEO has no really power experience operational. He's an accountant. He's only in the mid-40s, went to Belmont, but looks like they're politically correct. They're selected by the board that is appointed by the mayor. And two of these board members were appointed by Freddie O'Connell. But let me just kind of go down through who the board members are. Delta Ann Davis, she's an attorney. She's chaired the National Task Force on Environmental Sustainability in the Green Ribbon Committee. She's the wife of former Mayor Carl Dean. Yikes. Boy, his family sure gets around, right? His son.
Well, and that's just one of many. I was going to say the son is creating policies that essentially docks ICE agents, and the wife is managing the city's electricity supply during a crisis.
Then you have Casey Santos, who is Chief Technology Officer at Caliber Collision, and she's basically got an MBA from the Wharton School. Okay. Clifton Harris, President of the Urban League of Middle Tennessee. Nothing says energy expertise like that. Rob McCabe, now actually he's with Pinnacle Bank, probably a pretty strong guy, but he's a financial guy, right? And then Ian Prunty is an executive at Snowflake, ironic, a cloud data platform company appointed by Freddie O'Connell. None of these people on the board seem to have any practical hands-on experience about how to manage a utility. And two of them are appointed by Freddie O'Connell. Have you seen him in his hostage video? where he gets in the room with some kind of PR flack and the chief of police, and he just doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. Your thoughts on this?
Well, the city, that does seem to have been their response in general, and I think this is what happens. I mean, if you look at the mayors who have appointed all of these, they've all either been appointed or reappointed by Democrats. And as you said, none of them particularly seem to have a lot of expertise in the field. And where does this leave the Democrat political candidates once they're in office? They've appointed their friends, they've appointed people who give them DEI brownie points to critical positions, and in an emergency, Freddie O'Connell has to sit up there and claim, well, I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds like misinformation to me, as there's 100,000 Nashvillians without power 4 days out from a storm. I mean, I think this is really what anybody in any Democrat city has to look forward to if you stay there long enough without getting a rare blip, a Giuliani, for example, somebody who's going to come in and restore order. You're going to have mismanagement that can cost lives. Fortunately, I think the people of Tennessee are very well prepared for things like this. You have neighbors that take care of each other, but in other states, this could be tragic.
Yeah, well, it's really awful. And you know, Nashville is shut down. Lots of restaurants can't open. Nashville School of Law, from last I checked, no classes because they don't have any power yet. This is utter incompetence of people who don't know how to run the basics, right? What did traditional mayors do? Democrats, way back at the turn of the century, 1900s. They made sure that the place was safe. They made sure the garbage was collected, and they cleared the streets when there was snow, and they got power back. They can't seem to do it. They can't get out of the way. There's reports now, Tom, that it may take up to 2 weeks to get power restored in some areas. Can you imagine that?
I knew that we were going to see something like this, but I didn't quite imagine it would be this bad. When shortly ahead of the storm, you saw experts in Nashville predicting this could take days or even weeks to see power fully restored. And at the time, I'm thinking, in 2026, with modern technology and infrastructure, you're saying weeks? They must just be preparing for the worst. That way, when it's all back up within 48 hours, they'll look like heroes. But no, Michael, it turns out out that that is the price you pay for Democrat mismanagement, is weeks in the dark.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is I get a lot of people. The communication system of NES is a disaster. They send text messages out to people. This thing had been going on for a long time. And Sunday night, they send out text messages at 10 p.m. Go to your warming places. And then they'll send out text messages, oh, your power's back on. People go back to the house. Power's not on. They don't have a good communication mechanism. These text messages have been inaccurate and a disaster. Let me contrast this. Let me play this clip. The head of Middle Tennessee Electric, the CEO, was communicating about what's going on. And here's his latest communication. Watch this.
Well, hello, members. Chris Jones from Middle Tennessee Electric, and wanted again to update you this evening as we continue our restoration efforts in the wake of the ice storm. And when I came to you last night at 5 p.m., we had about 6,000 of our members who remained without power. And after a very busy day of hard work by my teammates, we are down now to less than 1,400 members who remain without power. Again, we're going to continue working through this evening to restore power to as many as we can, but wanted to bring you this update. Again, it's been a day where, because of the conditions that we have had new outages to emerge, we've had difficulty in getting to some places because of the conditions of the road, whether that be ice or trees in our way. And again, my teammates continue to just perform admirably.
Okay, so that's the head of Middle Tennessee Electric, which has done a really great job. All we have from NES this morning is this text. January 28th, 7 a.m. Current customers without power, 106,000. We are working diligently to restore it. Now, some people, Tom, are very unhappy about this, and they're pinning the blame on the CEO of Nashville Electric Service, the accountant. Here's a little clip to kind of give you a taste of that.
Hey, congratulations to Teresa Broyles-Aplin for being the first female president of Nashville Electric Service. Only about 3,000 outages a day ago, 2,200 outages 33 minutes ago, or over 110,000 outages of day 3.
Okay, they're not fans of the CEO of Nashville Electric. She's been nowhere. Nowhere has she been publicly the face of this. Well, she's an accountant. What's she going to say? Your thoughts, Tom Pappert?
Well, I was also going to say a minute ago, I think it's very patronizing for these text messages to be telling people to go to your warming stations. I mean, if you're freezing and you don't have heat and you don't have electricity, do you really need a municipally owned power company with board members appointed by Democratic mayors to let you know that you're cold and maybe you should do something about it? It's insulting to the intelligence. No, I do think that the board is entirely in over their head. I do think that the president is likely an issue, but I think that they're all issues. We went through the biographies a moment ago, Michael, and as you said, you've got maybe one individual who has the management chops for the position, that is the bank executive. The rest of these people seem like they are just friends or respected Democratic figures, friends of Democrats or respected Democrats themselves. They have no business being in this position, and this is what happens. Now, as far as a way out of this, I think that these mutual aid agreements described by O'Connell, they need to just give up. They need to invite these folks from Middle Tennessee Electric and other utilities nearby and say, this is an all-hands-on-deck situation. Please bail us out. That's what Democrats are good at doing, after all. They're good at accepting bailouts.
Yeah, Freddie O'Connell, mayor of Nashville. This is a debacle for him, and it's an indictment of his failed leadership. I mean, get the power back on. It's on you, Freddie O'Connell. Hey, Tom, when we come back, another debacle in Nashville. Metro Nashville Public Schools, where they have failing math and reading proficiency, they've come up with a weird idea. They think Colin Kaepernick, the leftist NFL a dropout, can help them. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
For years, the Europeans have underestimated President Trump time after time. But at every turn, he's been right. On energy, on NATO, on foreign free riding. It's time they pay up. That's why he's cracking down on foreign countries that don't pay their fair share for American medicines. Renegotiating trade deals for the prescription drugs we invent. President Trump is ending the foreign freeloading, making Europe pay their fair share.
Paid for by Americans for Limited Government.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Tom Pappert, our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star. Tom, we go from the absurd to the ridiculous now. You broke a story yesterday. Nashville schools announced partnership with leftist ex-NFL star Colin Kaepernick for an AI product. What on earth are they thinking this will do, Tom Pappert?
Michael, we discussed it here first. We broke it first, really, in the nation, right here on this show, that Colin Kaepernick was in Nashville, Tennessee last week, but we couldn't quite figure out why. We knew that he had this nonprofit that was big on creating educational curricula for children. It was all about like Black Lives Matter and woke stuff. But then we also discovered that he is now, believe it or not, Colin Kaepernick, the famous kneeler from 2016. He is an AI expert in 2026. My, how things change in a decade. He founded a new product called Leahy AI, and this is specifically for children. It's a literacy AI. By the way, I cannot comprehend how this could be any different from ChatGPT. If you go into ChatGPT, you can tell it, this is for children. I want you to help my kid learn how to create stories and use their imagination. Well, Leahy essentially does this, and it is supposed to be a writing assistant for students, for young students. Colin Kaepernick is selling this. He went to Nashville. They announced last Thursday that they are introducing a pilot program for the students in Metro Nashville public schools to get to use Colin Kaepernick's Leahy AI. Now, interestingly enough, it's being financed through a nonprofit called Pencil. They say it's private interest, private philanthropy going to pay for this, but Pencil receives a lot of its funding from government sources, including from Metro Nashville Council.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Now, the superintendent there, Dr. Adrian Battle, said this AI product, quote, allows students to use AI as a tool for creativity and communication while reinforcing our strong literacy framework. What the heck does that mean? And our beliefs that, wait for it, every student's voice matters. What? I mean, they can't read or write in Metro Nashville Public Schools. It's got like a below, I think, 40% proficiency level in 5th grade. This is called the district pilot. Is every kid going to be able to be forced to use this basically? I mean, this is a woke propaganda machine, it seems like to me.
It would be very interesting to get a chance to use Leahy and see what it might say to these children. But what we know from the district is that it's being introduced in phases. And so eventually they lead us to believe that the entire district will gain access, but it will likely start with a certain number of students and teachers. And where the schools that this may be rolled out in may start, well, I think we should probably look to the very schools where Colin Kaepernick was touring last week. And the main one, the one where there's like a dozen photographs posted, was Antioch High School, which is one of these schools that you described. Tennessee publishes letter grades, and last I looked, Antioch's were not very good. I talked to Tennessee professional educators, J.C. Bowman, about this, and he said that there's a couple problems. One, technology like this, whenever you're introducing novel technology into the classroom, it depends on teachers and students being able to use it. At Antioch High School in Nashville, Tennessee, do we really think these teachers, like, this is going to be the tool that makes the difference? As you said, they're having enough problems with basic reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, the other problem with this is, are there going to be hidden costs associated with it, either through subscriptions? It could be through maybe it's free for a year through this philanthropy group, and then once these kids are depending on AI to think for them, the district will have to pay for it. And by the way, where was the approval process for this? Apparently, if you get a nonprofit and a washed-up football star, you can get just about any product you want in Metro Nashville Public Schools.
Are K-5 kids going to use it? Junior high school kids, high school kids? That for students having a voice? That sounds like high school. Do we know what grades this is going to be in?
Well, we don't know in Nashville, but we do know from the Leahy website that they envision this as a tool for basically students of all ages. Once little Johnny or Susie is old enough to hold a laptop, they should be using Leahy AI to help them write.
To help them write. It's exactly the wrong direction. I mean, the technology will be thinking for these kids. They can't write on their own. Now, how much is this? How much is Colin Kaepernick's nonprofit getting paid for this pilot program?
Well, to be clear, this one is the for-profit. Leahy AI is a company just like any other. He also has his nonprofit that creates curricula that was adopted by the Biden administration. But yes, this is the for-profit.
How much are they getting paid?
We're going to have to dig into this, Michael, because this is going to be my next pitch. I hope that we're not making too much of the sausage on the air here. But this group has some very interesting funding. So we don't know how much Metro Nashville via Pencil, this local nonprofit, is paying them. But they've received funding through some very interesting sources. One of them is the official sovereign wealth fund of Abu Dhabi.
No.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so here's a great reason not to move to Nashville. You can have your power out, and they won't fix it, and your kids can be propagandized with a leftist AI system. Sounds wonderful, Tom. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
Up next, a big press conference going on in about 5 minutes in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump announcing more details of the Trump accounts. Financial accounts for every kid born after 2025 in the United States of America. Back after this.
Ponder this. Most of us are familiar with social media influencers. You know, people that claim expertise on some probably irrelevant topic. Many hours are wasted following people online who do not add an ounce of value to our lives. There is only one influencer who matters, and you should be following him and his messages every day. He holds the keys to our peace. He shows us how to live lives of meaning. He is there to help us carry our daily crosses. He is Jesus Christ, and he is the influencer extraordinaire. Are you one of his followers? Are you wasting time with useless information that will not bring peace and love to your life? Ask the Lord each day to provide you with spiritual influence that will change your life forever. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Do you think workers in Virginia should be forced to pay union dues and fees just to get or keep a job? For 80% of Virginians, the answer is no. That's why Virginia's right-to-work law is so popular. Unfortunately, special interest lobbyists in Richmond are seeking to repeal right-to-work in Virginia. With the General Assembly back, it is vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to oppose forced unionism and protect right-to-work in Virginia. Sign your petition today at virginiarighttowork.com. That's virginiarighttowork.com. The National Right to Work Committee paid for this ad.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
WJFN W224EB 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB 107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. A Texas-sized tragedy amid the bitter cold that's gripping so much of the country following the massive winter storm.
In Bonham, Texas,
I watched all of them struggle.
brothers aged 6, 8, and 9 fell through the ice on a pond Monday. Cheyenne Hangeman is their mother.
I ran across as much ice as I could to get to them and eventually ended up falling in myself.
She says she tried to pull them out of the water.
But the ice just kept breaking every time I would set them up there, and I would just keep trying to go to each one of them, trying to help them. And it was only me.
Hangeman said a man eventually arrived on the scene and was able to throw her a rope and pull her out.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. By that time, I knew that my kids were already gone. So I just had to try to fight for my life at that point.
Correspondent Ben Thomas says weather-related death toll has risen to at least 50. They're pulling the belts even tighter at e-commerce giant Amazon, cutting 16,000 jobs in its latest round of layoffs. To cut or not to cut, the Fed set to announce its latest decision on interest rates.
Federal Reserve officials are expected to keep their short-term interest rate unchanged after 3 rate cuts last year. Not making a change after today's meeting would ignore pressure for lowering borrowing costs from the White House in favor of waiting to see how the economy evolves. The rate-setting committee remains split between those officials who oppose further cuts until inflation comes down and those who want to lower rates to further support hiring. Most economists expect the Fed to cut rates twice this year, most likely at the June meeting or later. Mike Hemp in Washington.
And on Wall Street, the Dow trading about 2 points higher, while the Nasdaq is up 27 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-893-2288. That's 800-893-2288.
As America's #1 motorcycle insurer, Progressive has your back.
Oh, like if I need a replacement part?
Sure, we can help with that.
Ah, nice. Hey, I just entered this online contest for coolest bike in the world. You think maybe you could vote for me?
Actually, we just do insurance, not popularity contests.
Yeah, I know. But what's your email? I'll just send you the link real quick. You can vote like 100 times a day. They'll never know.
To be clear, Progressive has your back for insurance only. So get a quote and see if you can save.
So what I'm hearing is there's a little bit of wiggle room.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions.
It's official. Mike McCarthy, the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh native signed the contract on Tuesday after the two sides had reached a verbal agreement over the weekend. The 62-year-old McCarthy replaces Mike Tomlin, who stepped down earlier this month after 19 seasons. This marks McCarthy's third NFL head coaching role. He previously coached in Green Bay and Dallas. McCarthy's postseason achievements include a Super Bowl win over the Steelers in the 2010 season. The Steelers won the AFC North this season before being blown out in the opening round of the playoffs. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates say they will not allow their airspace to be used for any potential U.S. attack on Iran. It's something President Trump is not ruling out or in. America has moved the USS Abraham Lincoln and several guided missile destroyers into the region, which could be used to launch attacks from the sea. News and analysis, townhall.com. You've heard of the doomsday clock. It's still ticking away.
The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists has moved the doomsday clock ever closer to midnight. Daniel Holds is chair of the group's Science and Security Board.
The doomsday clock is now at 85 seconds to midnight.
The advocacy group began using a clock in 1947 to symbolize the potential of people doing something that could end humanity. Over the years, the group has changed from counting down the minutes to counting down the seconds. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A man sprayed an unknown substance on Democrat Congresswoman Ilhan Omar before being tackled to the ground during yesterday's town hall meeting that she was hosting. The incident took place in Minneapolis. The audience cheering as the man was pinned down, his arms tied behind his back. Omar then continued the town hall after the man was taken from the room. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We have a breaking story that's not about Minneapolis, about the anti-ICE riots there. It's not about the lack of power in Nashville today because of the municipally owned Nashville Electric Service failures 4 days into the power into the storm. But it's about something called a Trump account. These are basically federally supported savings program for children. It's a type of tax advantage individual retirement account established under the Working Families Tax Cuts. The idea here is that every child born between January 1st of last year, 2025, and December 31st, 2028, they're eligible for a $1,000 pilot program contribution from the U.S. Treasury. Ah, that's not bad. The annual limit of contributions is $5,000 from families, adults, non-deductible. And basically, it's going to start, contributions and investments start July 4th of this year. There are some recent developments on this. President Trump is promoting the program, and there's an event today featuring Michael Dell from Dell Computers, Bill Ackerman, I think Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, Senator Ted Cruz, and others. I think we'll get to that in a bit. Here's Trump talking about it right now, the Trump accounts.
We've got business leaders, we've got philanthropists, we've got
Scott
companies that are going to talk about contributing to the Trump account. And today, we want to raise the profile. We want all Americans to start signing up. So just this week, since the start of filing season with the IRS, we have had 600,000 families out of an estimated 25 million already fill out Form 4547.
So people are signing up.
I was getting my haircut on Friday and talked to the stylist who just has a grandchild. And I said, hey, we're going to do a story on next week about Trump accounts. Grandchild was born like in July of last year. And she said, well, I wonder if my granddaughter can get this. Well, let me check. Yes, January 1st, 2025 until December 31st, 2020. This thing will continue. It's a very good idea. I think we may have, there is a press conference. It's not up yet about this. And so let me just tell you some of the folks that are involved in this event today. We did get a communication from the Department of Treasury. They wanted me to come up there. I would have loved to come up there and to be in the exclusive. I got the exclusive invite to be part of this press conference today. However, a little thing called a winter storm came up, and I couldn't do it. Couldn't leave, right? Because we weren't even sure that we'd have power here in the studio or internet. And we actually, we were in planning, and then we could even reach the studio. But we were able to do that. We had a best of on Monday. I'm not leaving my family to fly to Washington, D.C. in the middle of this storm. No, not going to do it. But here's what the press conference is going to tell you. It will convene senior. It's at the Treasury Department. I kind of wish I'd been able to go. It's the Andrew Mellon was the big Secretary of Treasury in the 20s. And I think it's at the Andrew Mellon Conference in the Treasury Department on 14th and Constitution Avenue in the Washington, D.C. Big old building. It's going to have senior administration officials, key stakeholders, everyday Americans to explain how Trump accounts work, discuss their projected economic impact, and underscore the administration's commitment. We've got a live feed of it right now. Let's go to that right now and see what we have. They're setting him up. They're playing Proud to be an American. We'll come back to them in a bit. Who can we expect to hear from? Well, President Trump. We can hear from him. Secretary Scott Bessent. Additional participants include Michael Dell, Bill Ackman, who's the big hedge fund guy out of New York City, Nicki Minaj, and Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, right? By the way, apropos of nothing, Kevin O'Leary is a tiny guy. He's 5'4". At all of his press appearances, he's set up to kind of, look like 6 foot tall. He's tiny. He's 5'4", but he has a significant portfolio of financial successes. I saw him. He was on Fox and Friends the other day. He was promoting baseball cards. That would be on the list of things I would. I mean, I loved as a kid. I loved trading baseball cards, but as an economic investment, I don't think so. But some people, this is like high-end art, right? Where some people, have got a lot of money and no better ideas, you just bid these things up. So who else will be there? Okay. This is a guy, Brandon Beach, and Counselor to Secretary Besant, Joseph Lavorna. We've been trying to get Joseph here on the show, but everything is a little bit goofed up, and we haven't been able to do it. By the way, do you remember the story I told about Scott Besant? We haven't asked him on it yet, but you may recall, before he was appointed by Donald Trump, he was recommended highly by our friend Steve Bannon, and he had not done a lot of press interviews. And so Bannon came to me and said, look, let's give this guy some practice. Let's get him on your show. And Scott Besant, before anybody knew he was going to be Secretary of Treasury, came on my show and promised after he got nominated he would come on my show. He hasn't done it yet, but maybe here he is now. Let's go. Who do we have?
Lee Greenwood. He was with
President
us right
Trump.
from the beginning. First
Live.
time I walked into the stage, I heard that song. I liked it. I said, let's use it. That was 10 years ago, and he's been with us all the way. Fantastic guy. There's never been a man that made so much money from one song ever, and I'm happy about it. But I'm delighted to be back in the beautiful Mellon Auditorium, a wonderful family. Tim Mellon is a great guy. He's the current version of the Mellons, a fantastic person. To celebrate a thrilling new milestone for America, the first generation of Trump account children. Trump account children. For the first time ever, we're going to give every newborn American child a financial stake in the future, head start at life, and a fair shot at the American dream, something people don't talk about so much, at least not for the last 4 years they haven't been, but now they're talking about it big. This last period of time, it's been unbelievable. You see what's going on with our economy, the tremendous investments that's been made in our country. We have over $18 trillion coming in. The most, I think, was 3. That was 10 years ago, another country, not even our country. We have $18 trillion, and we have thousands of businesses being built all over the country, and hundreds of massive plants, so big, car plants, AI plants. With the support of the men and women here in this beautiful room, over the next 15 years, we're going to put $3 to $4 trillion of wealth into the hands of young Americans who otherwise would have really started out with nothing. It's really an amazing thing because it gives young children that start out with really nothing, and we gives them, boy, it's more money than anybody could imagine. From their standpoint, they'll have a real start in life, and that's why decades from now, I believe the Trump accounts will be remembered as one of the most transformative policy innovations of all time. And I've done a lot of them. The tax cuts, we've done a lot of them, more than I think anybody. And
we're going to break away from the president right now, but we're going to join him in progress after these 3 minutes of breaks. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy, back after this.
Ponder this, Judgment Day, the day you go before the Lord face to face. For many of us, this day seems like a long way away, and we are told that all of us will be in a better place when we die. What many of us forget is that our God is a God of justice. On Judgment Day, you will stand before the Lord and account for all of your thoughts, words, and actions during your time here on earth. You might be thinking that you're not such a bad dude, you didn't kill anyone, and you went to church every now and then, so you've earned your ticket to heaven. Hold that thought, as the Lord has told us what we need to get through those pearly gates. We must believe in Him, be baptized, follow Him by keeping His commandments, love Him, and love our friends and enemies. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you possess, how many awards or accolades are on your resume, or how much money you have, nor how high you are on the ladder of success. Judgment Day is real, and you are not judged by a jury of your peers. Prepare each day for Judgment Day. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Is your pet ready for some possum fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We've been talking about this big press conference. This is a very significant change in policy here, in financial policy of the country. And it's good for young people in America, the Trump account for kids. We're going to rejoin President Trump. We've delayed it a little bit to account for our 3 minutes of commercial there. But let's continue. The president speaking this morning at the Department of Treasury about Trump accounts.
But they're all going to be made in America pretty soon because we have factories coming in from Canada, Mexico, Japan, Germany, all over Europe. They're all coming here to make their cars because they don't want to pay tariffs. Very simple. It wasn't very complicated. You'll see those numbers starting to produce. That's why you see these massive construction numbers, and soon when those things start opening, you're going to see employment, and you're going to see wealth creation for middle-income people like you've never seen before. Every single Democrat in Congress voted to raise taxes on hardworking citizens. Their whole campaign was raise taxes. I've never heard of it before. All my life I grew up, and I hear politicians, we will cut taxes. This is the only group I've ever seen, we're going to raise your taxes. No wonder they lost. Actually, there were other reasons also. But together with the majorities in the House and Senate, we overcame their obstruction, and we put more money into the pockets of every working American than anyone thought even imaginable. Perhaps no provision of the great big beautiful bill will prove more consequential than Trump accounts. Under this program, the U.S. government will automatically create a tax-free investment account for every newborn American child, something that nobody really would have even thought of. There were some brilliant people that thought of it for a long time. They're here with us today. We're going to introduce a couple of them. But nobody really, I mean, I've had friends at the top people in business, they came up to me, whose idea was this? This is great. They said, I never thought of that. We'll fund those personal accounts with a seed contribution of $1,000, which will compound and grow over the course of their lives and could grow into very, very substantial numbers. Parents, employers, churches, states, and loved ones will also be able to add up to $5,000 in additional money for those accounts. And with every modest contribution, Trump accounts should reach at least $50,000 in value by the time the child turns 18 and could be very substantially more than that.
Let's just pause for a moment. Think about this. Think about how significant this is. Why is it that kids today feel hopeless? Well, they don't really have agency in many respects. And, you know, the kids that aren't taught read, write, and do arithmetic can't really produce anything because of that. They're angry. They have a lifestyle that they want to achieve, but they can't do it because they don't have the skill set or the capital. Now think about this. Think about how life will be changed with this. If it's possible. So the way this would work is, so you start out with $1,000, and every kid born after January 1st, 2025, gets one of these accounts. So they got an account at age 0, $1,000 from the government. Then friends, allies, etc., relatives, nonprofit can give them extra money. And so it's interest bearing over 18 years. Just do the math. And I think what's also interesting about this is I think we've got Michael Dell will be on here a little bit. He's going to give every kid for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, like, is it $2,500 in their account? So $1,000 you start off with, you get $2,500. We'll see what the number is here in a bit. You got $3,500, like, boom. If you just left that $3,500 in an interest-bearing account for 18 years and got no more, you'd get up to what? I don't know, probably $7,000, something like that. Something like that, maybe close. But think if you've got 50,000, you're 18 and you got 50,000. What can you do with that? You can do a lot with that. You don't necessarily have to. You can start a business. You can all sorts of things. All right, let's continue with President Trump on this.
Will grow to 100,000, 200,000. It can even grow up to past $300,000 per child. And we think most likely, the most likely cases in the 200,000, 300,000 range. The size and scale of this wealth will dwarf all government programs ever created to benefit America's youth. There's never been anything like this. That's why everybody's talking about it. Even really people that truly hate me are making this investment. One person hates my guts. He put $1 billion into it. I said, you must like this program a lot because you can't stand me. I said, I do, but I do like you more than you think. They liked me more in the last year than they liked me before. Although we had a great first term, we can't forget that. We're the greatest economy in the history of our country, but this is blowing it away. So every president, thank you. Every president in modern history has left our children with nothing but debt. But under this administration, we're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom. We'll ensure that Americans don't just end their lives with a nest egg, but instead all Americans will begin their lives with a beautiful nest egg. There's never been anything quite like this. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to a very special couple who believed so strongly in this vision right from the beginning, that they personally donated $6.25 billion. That's $6,250,000,000. Even the 250 is a lot of money when you think. I mean, Nikki, do you hear that money? That's big even compared to rapping, all the money she makes. She's hearing a number like that. She'll say, how many songs do I have to make to catch that? But amazing thing, $6,250,000,000 to fund Trump accounts for an additional 25 million children aged 10 and under. And that's Michael and Susan Dell, two incredible people. Where are you, Michael? Where's Michael? Stand up, Michael. What a great guy. What a great guy. I tell you, he didn't do it for his business. He did it, I guess, probably would have been better off not to. That's a lot. But you know what? I hope everybody goes out and buys Dell computers. My son, I told you, Barron, he loves that computer. I don't know what the hell you're doing to it, but he likes it. But I just want to thank you very much, and Susan. It's unbelievable, really unbelievable what you've done. So Michael and Susan made this donation in recognition of America's 250th anniversary because there's no better way to honor America's history than to invest in America's future. That's what they did. And this is perhaps the largest, one of the largest certainly, but perhaps the largest private donations of all time. That's a lot, $6 billion, $250 million. And somebody did say that. A friend of mine, very rich, he's going to put up $100 million.
Let's pause it here for a minute. Let's just think about this for a minute. If you're out there and you're listening to this right now and you're 18 years old, I think our demographics skew a little older. But if your child is 18, or if your grandchild is 18, think about this. You are worried sick about what that child is going to do, how they're going to make a living in a world run by AI, in a world where, right now people go to college, they get saddled with $100 grand, $200 grand of debt. What do you do? What do you do? How do you make enough money to even pay that back, to own a house? Think about this. I think President Trump, love him, he might be exaggerating just a bit here. I think getting to 50,000 by the time you're 18 is probably in the range, but 200,000, 300,000, I don't know how many will get to that. But think of it, if you're an 18-year-old kid and you got this account with 300,000 in, and there should be, I think, controls on how you use it, how you spend it. I don't think people are going to out and waste it all, at 18 years and one day. There's going to be some controls on that. But think of the agency. Think of the things, the positive things you can do. Incredible. Let's hear more of President Trump on this.
It's a lot more than mine. And I haven't even talked about the $6 billion. But anyway, it's amazing when Michael can start off with very little money and build a fortune where he can, routinely make such a payment and investment in the youth of our country. Michael, you're great. Thank you, man. Thank you. And I also want to say hello to and thank some very special people that have been with my administration and really become friends of mine. On occasion, I have little arguments, but generally, I would say really good. And start off with a man who's doing a phenomenal job, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Scott, thank you very much, Scott.
By the way,
he loved this right from the beginning.
Just a minute. Secretary Bessent, now I'm just going to gently remind you, you promised before you got nominated, right after you're nominated, you promised your first exclusive radio interview would be with me. I'm going to collect on that someday. Okay, let's keep going.
This is hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time they reach 18, but we can go 21. They can keep it in longer. But he saw this right from the beginning. He said, wow, this is great. And we have some other ideas that will be great, but this was one that just hit everybody. This was an easy one to think about. And again, that bill allowed us to do this.
Okay, and let me just say, pay attention to this. If for your kids, your grandkids, or if you're, a young kid yourself, this is going to change things dramatically. Hey, up next, we're going to change the tune here. Some crazy Democrat running for Attorney General made some awful statements. And Tom Zalostowski from Ohio, We the People Convention, will talk about that. Back after this.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
If you've tried everything for cheek redness or breakouts and nothing works, it's not your fault. The real cause might be deeper than you think. Introducing Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream from the Wellness Company, a prescription-strength, dermatologist-developed formula that helps reduce inflammation, balance bacteria, and restore your skin's natural glow. This triple-action cream combines 3 medical-grade ingredients for powerful results. Azelaic acid to unclog pores and fade dark spots, metronidazole to control bacterial imbalance and redness, and ivermectin to calm irritation and eliminate skin parasites that contribute to rosacea and acne. Together, these ingredients work to reduce bumps, swelling, and redness while supporting smoother, healthier, and more radiant skin over time. Formulated and compounded in the United States, this FDA-approved cream is trusted by doctors for visible and lasting results. Experience clear, confident skin with the Wellness Company's Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream. U.S. residents only. Head to twc.health/Godzilla and use code Godzilla to save $20 off, plus free shipping.
Trump 2.0 is in full effect. How do you keep up with all the action? I'll tell you. TrumpNationNews.com is your inside source for the inside scoop. Manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Zoom newsmaker line right now by our very good friend, Tom Zalistowski, head of the We the People Convention in Ohio. Tom, what's going on with the Democrats in Ohio? What are they drinking? Because we'll play this clip here in a bit. You've got a candidate for Attorney General in Ohio. His name is Elliot Foran, who says basically he has a plan to kill Donald Trump. Did you see that?
I did see that, and it's unbelievably shocking. And of course, he's running to be the highest law enforcement officer in the state, right?
Yeah, let me play the clip, and then we'll get the reaction to you. Here's the clip. Elliot Foran, here's his plan to kill Donald Trump.
Hi, this is Elliot Forhan, candidate for Ohio Attorney General. I want to tell you what I mean when I say that I am going to kill Donald Trump. I mean, I'm going to obtain a conviction rendered by a jury of his peers at a standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, based on evidence presented at a trial conducted in accordance with the requirements of due process, resulting in a sentence duly executed of capital punishment. That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to kill Donald Trump.
Okay, so Tom, missing from that is, what are the charges? Being Donald Trump?
Minor detail. Yeah, minor detail. Yeah.
So this
guy wants his 15 minutes of fame, and he's getting it. But it just shows you that what I have not heard, and I don't think you've seen, a single Democrat in the state of Ohio or nationally condemn that statement. That's even more disturbing than his idiotic statement, right?
Let me give you the background of this character, right? It will send shudders through your spine. He graduated from Athens High School, Athens, Ohio, home of Ohio University. Maybe his family is, on the faculty.
Commie Central.
Yeah.
Athens, Ohio is the most communist state school in Ohio.
He got a BA in political science from, wait for it, Kenyon College. Right?
Well, at least he didn't go to Oberlin. I mean.
Yeah. Well, our late great friend Mike Gibbons went to Kenyon, but he was there before it went crazy. Then this is let me tell you why the legal system is so crazy. This guy got a degree, a JD degree from Yale Law School. Okay, so high-end stuff. He began his legal career as an associate at top-tier firms, Cravath, Swaine and Moore, very big, Skadden Arps, okay, Baker Hostetler. He was on. He worked for Ted Strickland and State Treasurer Richard Cordray, of course, of CFPB fame. Now, look, I can tell you, all those firms, Cravath, Swaine and Moore. He went out of Yale Law School. He went to Cravath. I used to work for a way back when, right when I got out of college. I worked for an economic consulting firm, and our client was Cravath, Swaine and Moore. And this was in an antitrust case they were involved in. And so I'd go down to New York City, and the guy running the case was David Boyce. You know who he is, far left attorney. Yeah. But all these big law firms, they're all far left. They're almost all far left, Tom. And this guy, oh my goodness, he was elected to the Ohio House of Representatives as a Democrat in 2022. In 2023, he faced allegations of inappropriate behavior, including an unannounced visit to a fellow representative's house. He was investigated by the House Democrat leadership and Republican Speaker Stevens, resulting in a suspension of his state house access, loss of committee assignments. In February of last year, he announced he was going to run for Attorney General. What do you think, Tom, of this guy?
Well, I think he's a lunatic. I mean, he's mentally ill. There's no lawyer that would make such an outrageous statement. There's no lawyer, of sane mind that, would have this much Trump derangement syndrome. And again, as you so appropriately said, on what charges, pal? What jurisdiction do you have? Right? You think this is Letitia James type stuff again? I got news for you. That ain't going down in Ohio. The guy's got no future, but now he's got fame. And the sad part, as I said, is where are the Democrats condemning this lunacy? That's our problem. We're not calling people out for behavior that violates our social norms. I'm sure the voters of Ohio, will take care of this. The guy's means nothing, but it does show you the sickness in our society and the fact that the Democrats are so bereft of leadership that they have candidates like this because they don't have anyone else to run. Honest to goodness, in Ohio, the Democratic Party barely exists. And we're hoping this year to make them cease to exist. And that guy just did us a great favor because we'll be showing that video all over the place all year long.
The filing deadline for the Attorney General's primary, the primary will be May, right, as you know.
Yeah, it's next week.
It's next week, and there are only 2 announced Democrat candidates, Elliot Foran, this guy, and then John Kulowitz, who's a retired attorney. He's focused on standing up for working families, addressing issues like pay, safety. He's a people's lawyer. Yeah. And then on the Republican side, Keith Faber, who is the Ohio State auditor and former state legislator. I would think Keith Faber would be, favored here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We can only hope that the Democrat lunatic fringe shows up and elects this moron in their primary. Please, all you Democrats are watching this in Ohio, make sure you vote for this guy because we really want to have him on the ballot because it'll help drive out Republicans for every race. It'll help bring out independents for every race in November so that we can, win more House seats, more Senate seats, both at the state and at the federal level.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and there's no publicly available polling on this in terms of, who is likely to win the primary. But, I think, though, isn't this guy who basically says how he's going to – isn't the Secret Service going to get involved in this? Because –
well, that's my question. Now, again, he went to Yale Law School, so, it was very cute how he, put his statement out because you could tell he was legally trying to maneuver. Right? He didn't threaten to kill President Trump. He threatened to prosecute him, which would end up in him
he said how he's going to kill Donald Trump.
Killed, right? So I don't think he's got any legal culpability, but that doesn't change the fact that the person's not well. You're not well if that's what you're thinking. What does that do for the people of Ohio? Again, the Democratic Party, they always are for the people. What are you running on to be the Attorney General that's going to benefit the people of Ohio? Apparently nothing. You're just obsessed with killing Donald Trump. That tells you all you need to know, folks.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. And he went to Yale Law School. I mean, depending on where you look, it's like a top 1, 2, or 3, one of the top 3 law schools in the country.
Oh, well, Michael, this comes to me. This is really the bigger issue of this whole week. I know you've had a lot of people from the grassroots, upset about Minneapolis, wanting the Insurrection Act to be implemented, trying to see why isn't Walls and Fry being, charged and stuff. And here's our fear. Our fear is all these people graduate from Yale Law School. All the judges, federal judges in Minneapolis and Minnesota, all the state judges in Minnesota are like this guy. And the problem is, we arrested those 3 people who easily broke the law when they interrupted the church service, right? There's all kinds of laws, including Don Lemon and all that. They were out in 48 hours, and we're not sure they're going to be convicted of anything. The crisis we're facing in this country is we don't have law. We don't have judges and lawyers. We've got activists. And until we fix that, and Michael, I'm open to ideas. How are we going to fix that? Because we can't even get Congress to impeach Judge Bossberg, who clearly should be impeached. We're in a crisis because if we're not a nation of laws, we're not a nation at all.
Yeah, it's a rule of law crisis because the federal and state district judges are ignoring the law by not honoring valid arrest warrants not giving arrest warrants for those with probable cause. It's happening in blue states where the judges, are largely appointed by Obama and Biden. They don't care about the rule of law. And then this guy says he's going to kill. He said he's going to kill Donald Trump and explained how he's going to do it without citing what criminal law he's claiming Donald Trump
It's all
violated.
bullcrap. There's no law. There's nothing. It's a fantasy of a sick person. It's Trump derangement syndrome to the max. Okay. And that is the problem. We need to call these people out. You are not a serious person. You are mentally ill and you should seek help. And if you don't get help, you're going to do something. You just said he went to a fellow House member's house unannounced. Well, I'm pretty sure that wasn't a friendly visit.
No.
This guy is dangerous to himself and to others. But so are a bunch of these people in Minneapolis. So are a bunch of these elected officials like Eric Swalwell.
Hey,
You
Tom,
think Swalwell's not sick?
Stick
He's
around.
mentally ill as well.
Stick around. We got more to talk about. I want to check in on the governor's race there in Ohio. Okay. Tom Zalestowski with the We the People Convention. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Let's be real. Losing weight isn't just about looking good. It's about taking back control of your overall health. 42% of adults in America are classified as obese, and obesity is directly linked to severe health issues. If you've tried diets and different workouts with no success, it's not your fault. Big Food and Big Pharma have rigged the system against you with contradicting information, leaving you confused. But there's good news. The Wellness Company just launched Drop, a GLP-1 peptide oral drop formula developed by their chief medical board, specifically designed to support your metabolism, curb cravings, and help you shed weight. That's right. No injections, no risk of the severe side effects we're seeing with Ozempic. Start your weight loss journey today and get $100 off, plus free shipping. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and use promo code Godzilla100. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla100. Take action today for a healthier tomorrow.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Our guest, Tom Zalistowski. Tom, let me ask you this big question. Is the insurrectionism of Minneapolis going to spread to Cleveland and Columbus and Cincinnati in Ohio?
Well, I think we should all be concerned. I'm literally, between your break, I just got an email from a patriot in Toledo, just in Northwest Ohio, and says that our government, city government, just receives a $70,000 federal grant from DHS for border security, spewing reasons related to the ICE being terrorists. I hear our tax-funded library system is going to distribute whistles with the purpose of disrupting ICE operations, and have just allowed a training by anti-ICE protesters at the West Toledo location to follow ICE around. Do you think it's going to come to Ohio? You think it's going to come to Tennessee? You think it's going to come everywhere? Michael, we're at war. These people are serious. If you read Andy Ngo, if you read James O'Keefe this past couple days, they're saying what President Trump and the administration needs to understand is these people, these protesters are not protesters. They're dedicated Marxists who are intent on the overthrow of the United States, and they are willing to die for it. They are more committed to overthrowing the United States than many of us so-called patriots are to defending it. They're not going away. You're not going to negotiate with them, Michael. We have to defeat them. I'm not convinced yet that President Trump understands the threat. And that's very concerning to me, because it's coming to all of our neighborhoods, because particularly if we surrender or retreat in Minneapolis, look out. They're gonna move on us.
So others feel the same way, that President Trump doesn't quite fully understand the challenge here. I'm not sure I agree, but let me just get your reaction to this, Tom. There's an article, a lead article at The Federalist by Hayden Daniel. Headline, Trump has failed his nullification crisis. Other states will follow Minnesota's example. Now, Hayden is a relatively young guy. Let's see. Hayden is staff editor at the Federal. He worked as editor at the Daily Wire and as deputy editor, opinion editor at the Daily Caller. He has a BA in European history from Washington and Lee. So he's a smart guy, but relatively young. Here's what he says. Rather than stand firm, crush the blatant insurrection against federal authority in Minnesota, and emulate his hero, Andrew Jackson, President Trump blinked. Trump announced on Monday that he had a, quote, very good call with Democrat Governor Tim Walz, and that the governor had requested, quote, they work together with respect to Minnesota. That same day, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey revealed he had spoken with Trump and that they both agreed the present situation can't continue. But he was basically, Frey was saying, I'm not going to comply with immigration law. What's your take on that? What would, if President Trump would step off the podium at the Trump account conference that he's holding in Washington, D.C. right now, if he were to step out of that right now And if he were to ask for your advice, Tom, what should I do in Minneapolis? What would your advice be?
My advice to President Trump would be that he has to hold to the three things he told Walz. Remember, he did the thing, we did a phone call, and then Leavitt, his press secretary, came out and said, we want you to turn over all the illegals that are in your prisons. We want you to notify us whenever you arrest an illegal, okay? And then we want you to cooperate with our efforts. Not cooperate, not interfere. Now, Fry, the mayor, is correct. They do not have to enforce federal immigration law. But that doesn't mean you can interfere with it. And that's the problem. Yeah. And that's why we have emails from Minneapolis government employees helping the anti-ICE protesters interfere with ICE doing their job. That's illegal. They should be arrested. I think if I was advising President Trump, I would say you make a hard statement to Fry and the Walz. Either you tell the protesters to back down unequivocally, or we're going to arrest you for basically interfering with federal officers. The statutes are clear as a bell. Walz and Fry have both violated them. You arrest them. That sends a strong message. And then if the protesters don't back down, then you invoke the Insurrection Act, you bring in the military, and you put a curfew on Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Everybody stays inside the house, and the ICE people are going to go get the people we got to get. And when they've got the people they got to get, the Insurrection Act is withdrawn, and you show force. I'm sorry, that's all they understand. And I understand a lot of Americans would be terrified if we did that, but it had to be done in the past when they, was it Eisenhower sent the 101st Airborne to Selma? Okay, it has to be done. You cannot reason with these people. You have to show force.
There's also
that's what I would ask
an
President Trump to
important
do.
element here on the communication side. This is misdirection away from the huge fraud that the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis have been involved in. Tom Zalestowski, thanks so much for joining us today. Excellent analysis as always.
Stay warm. Get repaired in Nashville. We're praying for you guys.
I think I hear something. Do I hear that? I hear that. I don't know how the president does this, Tom, but apparently he's coming in along with Sean Farage from that conference in Washington, D.C. Back, if all goes well, with Sean Farage and 47 after this.
Let's face it, losing weight isn't just about looks. It's about taking back control of your health. Tired of confusing diets and injections with harsh side effects? Meet Drop, an oral GLP-1 peptide from the Wellness Company that boosts metabolism, curbs cravings, and helps you burn fat. No needles needed. Just mix it with water and let your body do $100 off and free shipping at twc.health/Godzilla and use the promo code Godzilla100 to save $100. Drop the weight. Take back your life.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or
Get your truth by the truckload from America's Godzilla of Truth, The John Frederick Show, weekdays 5 to 9 a.m. on WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump is putting Iran on notice again about nuclear weapons.
The president used a social media post to urge Iran to come to the table and make a deal on nuclear weapons. Or, he warned, the next attack will be far worse. He said time is running out and noted that a U.S. armada of warships was headed to the region. Iran said it would retaliate if the U.S. attacks. The Iranian government said it stands ready for dialogue, but if pushed, it will defend itself and respond like never before. Greg Clugston, Washington.
For anybody living in the states impacted by that weekend storm and hoping for higher temperatures, David Roth at the National Weather Service says there's not much in the way of positive news to report.
It's pretty much negative. Philadelphia is -1. Looks like -4 at EVP, Northeast Pennsylvania. I think that's Scranton. But as low as -11 in Ohio.
UPS is planning to cut up to 30,000 operational jobs this year as the package delivery company continues with its turnaround efforts. It's also reducing the number of Amazon shipments that it handles, and they're tightening the belt at the big online retailer, Amazon.com.
Amazon is cutting about 16,000 jobs in the latest round of tech industry layoffs. The reductions follow October's layoffs of 14,000 workers. U.S.-based staffers will have 90 days to find a new role inside the company. Those unsuccessful or uninterested will receive severance pay, outplacement services, and health insurance. These cuts are Amazon's biggest since 2023, when 27,000 jobs were cut. Rich Thomason reporting.
Starbucks reports stronger than expected sales in its fiscal first quarter as holiday drinks and a viral Bear Cup helped to drive sales. The Seattle-based coffee giant says global same-store sales rose by 4% October through December. More from townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Now that we're finally into the new year, a lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers. DBA Fellowship Home Loans. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 819382.
With the midday Wall Street Business Report, here's George Williams.
What will the Fed decide on interest rates later today?
Federal Reserve officials are expected to keep their short-term interest rate unchanged after 3 rate cuts last year. Not making a change after today's meeting would ignore pressure for lowering borrowing costs from the White House in favor of waiting to see how the economy evolves. The rate-setting committee remains split between those officials who oppose further cuts until inflation comes down and those who want to lower rates to further support hiring. Most economists expect the Fed to cut rates twice this year, most likely at the June meeting or later. Mike Hempen, Washington.
In remarks a week ago at the World Economic Forum, Mr. Trump stressed his advocacy for lower interest rates on home loans. He spoke last night in Iowa on the benefits of his policies on the U.S. economy. I'm George Williams.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. A deadly plane crash in India has claimed the life of a high-ranking government official. Here's correspondent Lauren Brutz.
It killed Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra State Ajit Pawar and all 4 other people on board. The aircraft was en route from India's financial capital of Mumbai to Pawar's home city in Baramati when it crashed and burst into flames. Pawar was travelling to a campaign in a local election when the privately operated Learjet went down. Also on board were 2 members of his entourage and 2 crew members. Pawar was the second highest elected official in Maharashtra as part of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ruling coalition in the state. Modi expressed his condolences, calling Pawar a committed public servant. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Investors keeping an eye on the Fed meeting today on interest rates, holding steady on Wall Street. The Dow is up by just 1 point. The Nasdaq up 35. More at townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. I think 47 and Sean Farash, are they there? I don't know how they do this. It must be, what's they call that, the discombobulator? Maybe they got a transportation version of the discombobulator. But we just had President Trump was in D.C., talking about the Trump accounts at the Treasury Department. And now, here he is, coming in. It's a little cold, a little brisk, walking into our studios with Sean Farash. Mr. President, thank you for joining us today.
We're happy to see you doing well. You know, a lot of Nashville is without power, and it's extremely cold. Think about it. It's extremely cold. The temperatures are lower than the average Somali IQ. Which is very low. It's very tough to do that, but their IQs are very low. Everybody knows that. Their IQs are very low. Basement, they're below the basement. But, as they say in baseball, under the Mendoza line. And I hit way over the Mendoza line. If I was a professional baseball player, I'd have the greatest stats the world has ever seen. But it's cold, it's icy. But we love ice, don't we? We love ice. Ice is doing a tremendous job. The ice on the power lines, we want to abolish that ice. But we love ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And we love Trump accounts, and we love Trump Day. It's Trump Day.
It's Trump Day.
And we love the Michael Patrick Leahy Show.
Always
It's
Trump
a highly
Day.
respected show, by the way, with tremendous ratings. Highly respected.
Well, the Trump Day, of course, is on Wednesday. We are now more than halfway through the week. And you've been here for a couple years, I think, now, on Trump Day, and making Trump Day better for everybody.
We're making Wednesdays great again. We're making Wednesday so great. Really, it could be considered the greatest day of the week. They used to call it Hump Day. They call it Trump Day now.
Of course they do. Now, Mr. President, you made a huge announcement today about Trump accounts. And the deal is any child born in the United States between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 will receive a $1,000 investment for themselves in a Trump account, which friends, relatives, others can contribute to. And then you held this press conference just about an hour ago in D.C. I don't know how you discombobulated your travel here, but you did, and you're in Nashville for now. But Michael Dell is, I think, giving a couple $1,000 to this account to every American kid. Unbelievable. Born between 2025 and 2028. And then there are some corporate accounts like Steak and Shake. Tell me what Steak and Shake's doing.
Well, Steak and Shake is a tremendous place. First of all, we love any place that rhymes, right? So Steak and Shake, they're great. You know, I got along very well with, you may have heard of him, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
He's a tremendous person. And we originally wanted to write green eggs and ham. We said, we will not eat green eggs and ham. I will not eat them Lindsey Graham. I will not eat them in South Carolina or with the virus that came from China. I will not eat them with Mitch McConnell or that horrible person, Rosie O'Donnell. We will not eat green eggs and ham. We did very well. So Dr. Seuss and I are good friends. So we love Steak and Shake. The #1 dining spot in Whoville. You know about Whoville, the Who's.
Yeah.
The Grinch. I got along well with the Grinch, too. And but you look at Steak and Shake and what they're doing, and you could pay with Bitcoin. You have the milkshakes over there. Their milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard. I have to say that.
So let's talk about this. They're making contributions. Any of their employees who have children from 2025 to 2028, they're making a substantial contribution to the Trump account. How much are they giving?
They're giving $1,000, I believe, $1,000 lot. And maybe we'll try and get them to give a little more. You know, we have a way of doing that. But no, Steak and Shake is doing a tremendous job. And they're a wonderful company. The tallow fries. You know, Bobby loves the tallow fries. Bobby Kennedy. Tremendous person. He's in beautiful shape. The only person in better shape than Bobby is probably me. But, they call me, they say, sir, you're a specimen, sir. I got along well with Zeus.
There's
Greek
a report,
god.
Mr.
Think
President.
about it, Zeus. You know who Zeus?
Yeah.
He says, sir, how'd you make that? How do you look such like a beautiful person? Your body is sculpted. sir.
Mr. President,
It's a lot of McDonald's and a lot of golf, I can tell you that.
I saw a report that you apparently have the highest testosterone level for a 78-year-old man they've ever seen.
It's incredible. It's through the roof. It's incredible. Make America alpha again, right? We're doing a tremendous job. But no, Steak and Shake is doing well. And a lot of these other companies, Nicki Minaj.
She was there, too.
She has big, beautiful nails. I'm thinking of letting my nails go. Right? I'm going to look like Edward Scissorhands. I called him Ed. Nice guy. But she's got the nails. You look at Mr. Wonderful. They call me Mr. Wonderful, too. They call me Mr. Tremendous, actually. But, he's a wonderful guy. And Nikki's a wonderful person. And the Trump accounts are going to do very well for America's children. The future looks good. Looks very good. It looks great. And these contributions, we're very grateful and very appreciative of these people who are doing that.
Mr. President, if I can change subjects for just a bit here. Do you remember Colin Kaepernick?
With his stupid afro.
Yeah, the afro and the
mediocre
kneeling.
NFL quarterback.
Mediocre.
Yeah,
really. He couldn't. He when Jim Harbaugh was the coach of the 49ers back in 2012, he switched quarterbacks from Alex Smith mid-season to Colin Kaepernick. They went to the Super Bowl. They lost. The power went out during that Super Bowl.
Because of Beyonce.
And what's happened subsequently, he was in for like 3 or 4 more years. He was very average. Very average. And then, he wouldn't stop kneeling. And apparently he's been like a, quote, civil rights activist ever since. But now Metro Nashville Public Schools think it's a good idea to have some kind of group pay him a bunch of money to do a pilot project on an AI system that will allow students to have their voice. This is, woke propaganda to the extreme. What on earth is Colin Kaepernick with that weird afro doing here with Metro Nashville Public Schools?
Well, I don't think it's a good idea to put him in charge of AI. We do very well with AI. This Chat GPT, I have something called Chat DJT, and it responds like your favorite president in all caps. Sometimes it responds in all caps. Sometimes it responds with beautiful.
Chat DJT.
Chat DJT. You say, hey, Chat DJT, who's the greatest president? It comes back and says, the greatest president of the United States in the history of the world is Donald John Trump. It's a tremendous program. But you look at Colin Kaepernick, we don't call that artificial intelligence. We call that artificial lack of intelligence, right? He's a very stupid person. He's a very stupid person. And he's a very nasty person. And his hair is horrible. I know good hair. I have amber waves of gray on the top of my head. It's beautiful. He's got a stupid afro, and he's a very nasty and stupid person. So I think it's a very bad idea for Nashville. Metro Nashville Public Schools, they're using a dumb person to be in charge of AI. It's called ALI, Artificial Lack or Actual Lack of Intelligence. That's what it stands for. ALI, Lack of Intelligence.
Yeah, it's very, very troublesome, Mr. President. And I know that you're really focused on improving education and improving the lives of young kids. You said that, a young child born today could have as much as $50,000 or up to $200,000. Here's a question for you. An 18-year-old kid with $200,000 in this account, are they going to blow it, Mr. President, or what are they going to do with it?
Well, they need to be taught properly how to do it. You don't want to blow it. You don't want to spend it on stupid things. You don't want to do like what the Democrats do. They walk lizards drunk on a treadmill. They study romantic relationships between parrots. They studied male pattern baldness in space. Who the hell cares about male pattern baldness in space? But no, you look at that $200,000. It's a nice down payment on a home. You could put yourself through school. You could do very well with it if you do it properly.
I'm so sorry, but your discombobulator helicopter that will take you back is outside, and so although I'm glad you made it, but you have you got to get Greenland. You got to do a lot of stuff today. So thank you so much for joining us, Mr. President.
Thank you. God bless you. And we're very excited about Greenland.
Well, the good news is Sean Farash, who came with you, will stick with us for the rest of the hour. I hear He's the very best Trump impersonator in the world.
And he did a fantastic job in the snow.
He did. Back with Sean Farash after this.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Sean Farash is here with us. The president has left on the the traveling discombobulator, back in D.C. now. Boy, that's quite a vehicle to be on.
It really is. You know, Candace is onto something. Time travel's real. So,
well done.
She thought something was up with the ice. I don't know if you saw that. She thinks now the ice was. I bet you that's going to be blamed on some Jewish guy soon.
Yeah,
sure.
Very crazy. Okay, so let's talk about this snowstorm.
Yeah,
it's been significant. Not just the storm itself, which had a lot of snow, but then the ice and the freezing rain has led to huge power outage across the country. I think. Over half the country was affected by this.
There was, it stretched from Texas all the way up to Maine. It was a massive snowstorm. Yeah. A Miller B, as it's referred to, because what you had was a low that, tracked through Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and then a little overrunning type of deal, but it reformed over the coast and brought heavy snow to the northeast I-95 corridor. For Tennessee, it was always going to be, an ice threat and it materialized.
Yeah, and lots of power outages.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I discovered last week when you were here with us that you are really obsessed with weather.
I am obsessed with the weather.
And we suggested that it might be interesting for Donald Trump to do a weather forecast about this particular storm.
Yes.
You've done Donald Trump the weatherman before.
Oh, yeah.
This particular one was so well received. Your buddy Britt Hume, Fox News.
Britt Hume, yeah.
I'm Britt
Yeah.
Hume, and you're not.
Right. Chevy Chase.
He said, if you just listen to it, you can't. It sounds just like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
This is the best guy there is. He's a big fan of yours.
Britt Hume has done that a couple times with some of my videos, which is cool. I don't always agree with some of his takes, but that's okay.
It's all right.
You don't have to agree with someone 100% of the time. But yeah, he was impressed, which was cool.
Well, I was too.
Rush Limbaugh's brother liked it too.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he thought it was great.
But here's the thing about this, which is kind of striking. This may have been your most widely viewed clip ever. Tell
Across
us
all
the numbers.
platforms, yeah. I mean, the sombrero, the Schumer
That was
siesta,
good.
but Trump reposted that, so
Yeah.
that's kind of not fair to
to
grade that. But this one on Facebook did over 5.5 million, on Instagram almost 2 million. Right, so I think the combined between both platforms was 7.3 on Facebook and Instagram.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And then on X, it did 4.3. So we went over 11.5 million just on those two platforms. And then, YouTube and TikTok kind of threw a couple 100,000. But it was well received. It was trending and it was different.
It was
and
timely.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were sitting there going, I said to Brennan, I said, because she likes when it snows because she's not used to it. She's from Florida.
Florida,
You know? So it's like, let's go out in it. But we were kind of hesitant because what if the power goes out? Like, do we want to be cold? We'll go out for a few minutes, whatever. Because the snow was gonna end. And it was coming down the fat flakes. I said, this is the time. We got to do the fat flakes. And the temperature about being lower than a Somali IQ, I think, was a good way to start it. We've talked about, like, what's the hook? And all that. So instead of your favorite president, it was your favorite meteorologist, and it just people got a kick out of it, which I'm happy because it was a tough storm.
Yeah.
It went on for a while. It was a tough storm. It was brutal cold, and I was happy to provide some levity. And I honestly love the weather. Like, people are like, you missed your calling. I was like, there's too much math involved in meteorology. I don't like it. I'm more than happy to stare at weather models and, make informed opinions and guesses about where storms are going to go without calling myself a
You are a weather
meteorologist.
hobbyist.
Hobbyist, enthusiast, yes.
Weather enthusiast.
Yes.
Which is a good way to frame it.
Yes.
Now, but what's interesting about this is this storm, which everybody predicted would come.
Yep.
And everybody said, okay. And of course, in Middleton, you and I are from New York. You're Long Island, upstate.
Right.
A storm like this in upstate New York, you got the infrastructure to deal with it.
Yes.
It's not really that much of a problem.
Although when it ices like this,
that's a problem.
We've had on Long Island some death glaze storms where you just get a half inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice and it's on everything. And it's hard to deal with that.
Ice on the trees is a problem.
Yeah.
Because if you have power lines and the trees have not been trimmed, which
Right.
is really a duty and part of the responsibility of an electric utility.
Correct.
Because these things happen, right?
Even if it's not an ice storm, even if it's a
Right.
windstorm.
Well, for instance, it's similar to the problem in California, where in California they were told, you got to trim the sagebrush.
Yeah.
And because if you don't, it's a fire hazard.
The deadfall. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Similar failure to manage has had consequences, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But in Middle Tennessee, ice, black ice, very dangerous because people.
Ice of color.
Thank you.
We have to be politically correct.
Thank you for that. Very dangerous because people don't know how to drive in it. And you combine that when a utility has ignored its duty to trim the tree branches, you'll have huge power outages. Now, in Middle Tennessee, Power outages have been a very big problem, primarily in the municipal electric utility owned by Metro Nashville government, Nashville Electric Service. In the country right now, there are more power outages in Tennessee than any other state.
Yeah, I think there was like 300,000.
130,000 today, but 106,000 of them are in Metro Nashville.
Wow.
Now, in contrast, you live in Rutherford County.
Yes.
I
They did a great job with this storm, by the way.
Well, let's go back. I talked to Clint Brewer, who lives in Wilson County. These are all kind of donut counties around Nashville. Wilson County, Rutherford County, Williamson County, where I live. Middle Tennessee Electric did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
They were prepared.
Yep.
They have done a good job as routine maintenance of trimming trees so they don't have a lot of problems. That's not the case in Metro Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
In Nashville Electric Service, there have been complaints. Today, more than 4 days into this outage, 20% of Metro Nashville electric utility households are out of power.
Jeez.
20%.
That's unacceptable.
We've not heard a word from the CEO, this accounting woman. She's a female accountant.
Right.
Who, you're an accountant, but in a storm like this, you don't need an accountant.
No, you need a leader.
You need a leader.
Yeah.
And then Fidel Freddy,
right,
has been awful in terms of his leadership.
As you would expect.
He can talk, but he can't do.
He can't do. This reminds me of Hurricane Sandy on Long Island when LIPA, was exposed that they were supposed to be doing
Long
Island Power Authority.
Yeah.
And then they got replaced by PSE&G. It's actually one of the best things Andrew Cuomo did for the state. And I hate to give him credit, but he took them on. Because they were supposed to upgrade all the infrastructure routinely, and they pocketed the money instead. And then Hurricane Sandy happened, and people were out of power for a long time.
Right, and I think we're going to be a long time in Nashville because a couple things. First, their communication has been terrible. You've got this sort of hostage video of Freddie O'Connell in a big room with the chief of police and some kind of PR hack, just yakety-yakking. But
are there lights on in the room? Because that's a slap in the face kind of thing, But dangerous too. It's cold. It's not like it's 50 degrees. It's 20 degrees out.
But there are reports that they refused to hire extra linemen in advance of the storm, and reports that they have not over a couple years done their maintenance to cut down tree branches.
Yeah,
that's a standard operating procedure.
It is.
And right now, I can tell you right now, people that have had the Metro Nashville officials have gone in. They have a duty to remove trees and roads. They're not removing them. They haven't been removing. They were just marking them.
Jeez.
So,
where do your tax dollars go? That's where it's supposed to go.
Well, they've got bike lanes coming.
Great.
By the way, Metro Nashville government, the mayor appoints the board of directors of Nashville Electric Service, the municipally owned utility.
Therein lies the problem.
There are 5 of them, and 2 of them have been appointed by Fidel Freddy. None of them have any operational experience in utilities. You got a couple lawyers who are involved in green projects. They can talk, they can do press releases, but they can't literally turn the power on.
Right. That's their one job. One job. Turn on the lights, and couldn't do it. That's shameful.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for those who are without power 4 days in. It's not that that there aren't going to be any power outages. You can't prevent them all, but you could certainly have a better response. There's an old phrase. It's like the 7 P's. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance.
Right.
And it's like
they didn't plan.
There was no proper,
and their performance is poor.
And their performance is poor.
Beyond poor.
Yeah.
When we're talking about performance, it looks like there may have been a performance in Minneapolis last night.
Oh.
Ilhan Omar.
Oh, yeah.
And some, I don't know.
Guy.
Some guy.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll talk about that and more with Sean Farash when we get back.
everyone. EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back in studio because it's Trump Day. The very best Trump impersonator in the world, who now is a Tennessean, the one, the only, Sean Farash. Sean, you understand what a good performance is, don't you?
Yeah, I've seen good performance. I've seen bad performance. I'm a Jet fan, so that's 17 times a year. Bad performance.
Well, there was a performance, I think, in Minneapolis, Minnesota last night.
Yeah, I thought that was this is a little fishy too.
We'll play the clip, the beginning of the clip, before Ilhan Omar says a bad word. She was there. Of course, she's under investigation for the dramatic increase in her net worth the past couple of years, from like negative 50,000 to what, 20 million, some ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so now she's all righteously anti-ICE. And so let's play this video. Let's watch what happens here at the town hall, and a guy in the front row, right in front of her, approaches her and tries to put some vinegary substance on her.
There are things I want to say about what that liquid is that I'm not going to say. I'm gonna leave it there and use your imagination.
It's yellowish.
Yeah.
All right. Let's play the clip right now.
Abolishment of the agency. ICE cannot be reformed. It cannot be rehabilitated. We must abolish ICE for good. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Okay. So there it is. It looks a little staged to me.
Yeah, there's something suspicious. Does the guy? Is there something wrong with the guy? He looked like
guy-
he had like a limp or something.
Well, the guy's name is Anthony James Kazmierzak.
Okay.
Age 55. And his bio, I mean, capital L.
Mm-hmm.
Loser.
Right.
Right. He was booked into Hennepin County Jail on suspicion of third-degree assault. And it was a little weird if you look at it. It's like she's looking at him.
She moves. She goes toward him. Like she goes at him. Right? Like, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
You know?
It's almost as if she's saying, look at how brave I am.
Right. Yeah.
Almost
like there
as
was
if.
some sort of kind of, I stood up to this. I don't know. It seemed fishy. I'm not going to declare that I know that it was staged, but
it seems.
Wouldn't put it past her.
So
I wouldn't put it past her. She's not an honest person. So
he
why would she lie?
allegedly sprayed her with an unknown foul-smelling liquid described as vinegar or ammonia-like from a syringe. Okay. So ammonia-like. Okay, great. So
again, there are things that I want to say that I'm not going to say them.
Don't say them.
I'm not going to say it till I know we're off the air. Then I'll say it, and we'll
So
laugh
this
about
guy,
it during the break.
Anthony James Kazmierzak. Back in 1989, he pleaded guilty to unauthorized use of a motor vehicle.
Okay.
He has multiple traffic-related misdemeanor offenses.
Now he has unauthorized use of vinegar.
Or an ammonia-smelling yellow substance.
Ammonia-smelling yellow substance, which we can all imagine is something.
He was divorced in 2017. He was unemployed then. Received disability insurance benefits of $40,000 annually. Now, there's claims that he followed conservative accounts. He had allegedly texted a neighbor beforehand about attending this Omar thing and possibly getting arrested.
Okay. I mean, weird.
So here's what
So it's not adding up, though. I don't know.
It doesn't.
It's strange.
Here's what Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama had to say about this.
The president said that he thinks that Ilhan Omar getting sprayed last night was fake. He says, I wouldn't doubt it. She's a fraud. I wouldn't doubt it if she went ahead and if she sprayed herself, he said. What's your take on this? I'm sure you've seen some of it on the internet this morning.
Oh, well, this person sat on the front seat on the front row, right in front of Omar, and then took off running to the right. I mean, if you're going to have somebody that's going to go after somebody, they're not going to run away from them. And that you could tell that was pretty much all staged. Now, again, I'm just saying that because you look at you look at what the Democrats have done and how they act and the things that they say that they're supposedly for our country. And then, of course, she is under big-time investigation. She's trying to get the heat off of her. At the end of the day, this is the Democrats, playing games. And Ilhan Omar needs to be in jail. And as you said, she's as guilty as they come. Third world country and worth $30 million. Hey, this is a great country, and they shouldn't be trying to change it like they are if somebody like her can make $30 million.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Minneapolis is just a total mess.
Total mess.
But it's an orchestrated total mess,
Yeah.
it seems to me. And a lot of people, so you've got the insurrectionists, the governor and the mayor, who are basically flipping the middle finger at federal immigration enforcement, and aiding and abetting those people who are trying to stop immigration from picking up illegal alien criminals, rapists, murderers, etc.
Clear as day.
Clear as day. But what's your take on this? How has the Department of Justice handled this?
I don't think they've handled it well. I mean, I understand that investigations and things of this nature, this is not an episode of Law and Order, so it's not like, within 40 minutes everything's wrapped up and you get a cliffhanger for the next episode, right? Like, that's not how the real world works. But I could tell you that parents who attended school board meetings under the last DOJ faced steeper consequences for doing nothing wrong than some of these wrongdoers are facing for doing a lot of things wrong. You have impeding a federal officer is a is a law. There's a law against that. I think it's 18 U.S. Code Section 111. You have civil disorder charges that they could be hit with, blocking roadways. These are all things. And again, to compare this to J6, Captain Christopher Kune was charged with civil disorder for entering the Capitol on January 6th and picking up garbage. That's all he did. He didn't obstruct. He didn't storm. He didn't violate. He picked up trash, and cleaned up. But they hit him with a felony. There's so much that I think can be done by the DOJ, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just slow or if it's inaction, but we keep hearing the warnings, and I keep hearing about letters. I don't want to hear about letters anymore.
A sternly worded letter.
I'm tired of seeing the Attorney General going on Fox News, wagging her finger and talking strong, and then nothing, because at the end of the day, that's an empty threat now, right? Why do you have New York City Ice Watch, which is basically Antifa at this point, saying we need multiple fronts of this across the country? Because they're emboldened, because nothing happened. Remember when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris tried to use the one-word foreign policy with Iran of don't? Yes. What do you say to Iran about building a nuclear weapon? Don't. Oh, well, they did. They tried, because that's not enough. There's no consequences. How about when Kamala said to the illegals, don't come into the country? But there was no consequences if they did, so they did it anyway. These people in Minneapolis are not being met with any consequences for their law breaking. So when you have the president, who I love and support, coming out saying this is a violation of the law, but the law doesn't matter if it's not enforced. And this is the problem. Someone's got to explain to me what the DOJ is doing, and they don't like criticism. That is clear. But I believe it's the job of the people to kind of pressure them and say, God, what's going on here? Why is there no action? And unfortunately, I have about as much faith in this Department of Justice as I do in Aaron Glenn of the New York Jets to coach this team to a winning record. They fumbled the Letitia James case. They fumbled the James Comey case. They fumbled the Don Lemon case. They went above.
So let's set it up. So a magistrate judge.
Yeah, Miko.
Yeah, and the way this works is there are 94 federal districts, and each federal district has 5 to 8 trial court judges, federal district court judges.
Right.
Every single one of those judges has to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Now, when a Republican president wants to nominate a federal district court judge in a blue state, the senators there can drop a blue slip.
They can veto, yeah.
And so you end up with basically, leftist judges in blue states. But then also, because there's the volume of cases, those 7 to 8 judges in a district select, without Senate approval, a magistrate judge.
Right.
Who does workaday stuff.
Yeah. Like a proxy. It's a low-level kind of guy.
So they go. So tell what the.
So they go to the magistrate for the arrest warrant for Lemon, and he says no. Right.
The magistrate says no because his wife works for the Attorney General.
Works for Keith Ellison. Yeah.
Conflict of interest.
So now they have to go above the magistrate, kind of to appeal it. And what they did is they bypassed the Eighth Circuit. They bypassed the chief judge.
In that district,
Patrick Schlitz.
Right.
Who used to clerk for Antonin Scalia.
Right.
They didn't give him a chance to hear their argument as to why they should have this warrant. They went straight to the appeals court, the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, and that 3-judge panel found that they had enough probable cause for an arrest warrant, but did not grant them the relief because they didn't go to Judge Schlitz first and let him hear the argument.
Mistake.
Because now they are abandoning the whole thing. Schlitz is upset with them. They're abandoning the whole thing, and now they're just going to pursue it with a grand jury indictment.
The logical thing to do procedurally,
right? Just
would
follow
have been
the steps.
Appeal to the chief judge.
Go to the chief judge first.
Yeah,
and let him hear the argument. If he doesn't grant
then you
you
go
what
to the
you
appeals
want,
court.
Then you go to the appeals court, and it looks like they would have won. But the appeals court literally said in the ruling, the government has failed to establish that it has no other adequate means of obtaining the requested relief because they didn't go to Schlitz first.
Right. That looks like a 1L error.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like an attorney general.
It just, reeks of
amateur hour.
Yeah, incompetence.
Yeah.
Right, and that's
okay. Last question.
Like, I'm very frustrated by it.
Does President Trump keep Pam Bondi as Attorney General, and does he keep Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary?
Unfortunately, I think Noem is on more of the hot seat than Bondi. Now, the problem is, I would have fired Bondi after July 6th in the Epstein memo because she exposed this administration to so much bad PR.
Yeah.
I would have said,
that was amateur.
Out.
Here's the thing, though.
But you got to get one confirmed by the Senate.
That's going to be
problem. That's the issue.
I don't think either will be fired.
No, because find the replacement. The Senate's not going to play ball.
No, they won't play ball. And already 2 Republicans have called on Noem. Here's my prediction: he's not going to fire either.
Right.
But Tom Homan is going to take operational charge. He's just a advisor now.
Right.
Homan's going to take operational charge of much more of what's going on now.
I hope so, because he's a bulldog.
And he knows what he's doing. Attorney General Bondi is going to see her power diminished, and Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon is going to see her power increased.
I hope so.
This is my prediction.
I have far more faith in Harmeet Dillon than I do in Pam Bondi.
Yeah.
And Harmeet's been a great team player at DOJ, and she's sticking her neck out to defend Bondi. I'm tired of hearing about...
Sure.
What is Tim Walz going to do with a letter?
I know what he's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. He's going to use it as toilet paper.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Exactly right. When we come back, News Potpourri. Back after this.
Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, the very best Trump impersonator in the world. The one, the only, Sean Farash. Sean, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of irony. I'm going to start with a little weird football story.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
Who coached 6 victorious Super Bowls, more than any coach in NFL history, has been rejected by the NFL Hall of Fame in his first year.
Yeah. The media being the media, right? That's what that is.
I mean, come on.
I mean, look, I'm no fan of Belichick, okay? He resigned on a napkin as head coach of the New York Jets, then went to New England and coached a dynasty. He's one of the best coaches ever, or most successful coaches ever in NFL history. To deny him first ballot Hall of Fame status is petty.
Yeah, it's petty.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a Hall of Famer in communications. That would be Marco Rubio, who's testifying about Venezuela, and the left is, they're trying to catch him in all various things. It's not working so well. Let's play this clip right now.
Affirming here that these armed militias are running around suppressing voices. We have an administration that has said very clearly that they're not only going to be lifting temporary protective status for Venezuelans living in the U.S., but instead of protecting longtime American residents, they are, quote, the administration is putting people back on deportation flights and sending them into that madness. Does that make sense to you?
Well, first of all, the travel advisories for American citizens traveling there and the threats posed to Americans. What you're describing
why lift temporary protected status?
Well, the problem with temporary protective status was it was granted to so many people in such a vast numbers so quickly without proper vetting by the previous administration that there's a real concern that there were gang members that had received TPS simply because of the nation they came from and the time in which they came. It became so big and so massive. The overwhelming majority of Venezuelans are not members of Tren de Aragua, but there were Tren de Aragua and other criminal elements embedded in the TPS system. And the numbers were so large that the administration felt it had to cancel the program in order to appropriately vet it through on the individual cases.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary, this might not surprise you. I don't trust this administration and the way they use terms like terrorist. I've seen them calling American citizens domestic terrorists who are people trying to peacefully protest.
That's rich.
The problem.
Okay, so
that's rich. Talk about irony.
Yeah, Rubio just is destroying these guys.
Yeah,
he's much smarter than anyone.
Especially Cory Booker. But my goodness,
Spartacus.
So Spartacus wants to say that the administration refers to peaceful protesters as terrorists. That's like your whole thing. That's what they did with J6.
Yeah, 1,500.
Parents
crazy.
At a school board meeting who didn't like critical race theory or mask mandates were terrorists.
You want to hear from another knucklehead on the left?
Yes.
Zoran Mamdani. He has a few words. He sent a letter to President Trump. Let's hear this, clip 24.
One of the big issues nationally is the question of ICE, what we've all seen happen in Minneapolis. But there's a big question about whether ICE is going to come to New York. And I'm curious about what kind of conversations you've been having with the president or the administration about that possibility and how you think you would be reacting to this.
I said to the president directly that these ICE raids are cruel and inhumane and that they do nothing to actually serve the interests of public safety. And that public safety is of paramount importance to us. It's the cornerstone of an affordability agenda. But to use it as a justification to pull people out of their cars, out of their homes, out of their lives, it is completely contradictory to what New Yorkers are seeing.
Okay, I don't know. So he wants basically rapists and murderers and pedophiles who are illegal aliens to be able to live in New York City and to continue with those crimes, apparently.
The Democrats around the country agree with this, right? I mean, there's a new website, dhs.gov/wow, which is the worst of the worst database. You can punch in your city and you can see who they have. And these are people that have been, by the way, convicted of these crimes, not accused of. They've had their day in court. They've been convicted of rape or sexual molestation of a child or drug dealing or driving under the influence or, being a gang member or terrorism or manufacturing a bomb or whatever it might be. These people have been, aggravated assault accused and convicted of those crimes. And you have the one of two major political parties arguing in favor of them staying.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think it was Carville. Was it Carville who said it's the economy stupid?
Mm-hmm.
It's your community stupid. It's the economy stupid. That's what it is. Do you want to live in a safe place or an unsafe place? Nobody wants to live in an unsafe place. It's your community stupid. Yeah. You don't want your kids running around the neighborhood playing ball with friends, going out for bike rides, going to walk in the park, whatever, and having to do so in a neighborhood where there's an illegal alien rapist roaming free because the Democrats believe he's just here for a better life. And it's a common sense argument in favor of ICE that I believe a lot of people on the right should take up.
Here's one. There's a movie coming out about Melania. We actually were invited to a special screening of it tomorrow. But it's late at night, and it's downtown Nashville. Mm-hmm. We don't know about Power or Black Ice. Got to pass on that. Thank you very much for the invite. Tim Cook, who is the CEO of Apple, is apparently a big fan of Melania. Apple employees are now protesting his friendship with her.
Give me a break. So he can't have friends? He can't. So work for another company then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like the CEO has friends? Go work for another company. That's it.
Here's a higher education story from New York State, Cornell University. Ithaca, high above Cayuga waters. There's an awful smell. Some say it's Lake Cayuga. Most say it's Cornell.
It could
classic.
Be. It could be. By the way, did you hear?
They're being sued for discriminating against white candidates. I know. You're shocked by that.
This is a good one, by the way. Outkick had it last night. This is great. Marines in a restricted military training area on Quantico Marine Base have reported Bigfoot sightings.
Are you a Bigfoot guy too?
I am.
You're a weather guy. My brother-in-law is a big fan of Bigfoot.
There is a show called Expedition Bigfoot.
Oh yeah,
and I watch it because they think every noise is Bigfoot.
There it is. There's Bigfoot.
That's
Where is
it. I'm like, it's a squirrel.
Hold it. I think we see Bigfoot just outside the studio.
The biggest, the most beautiful foot the world has ever seen.
Sean Farash, the very best Trump impersonator in the world. It's Trump Day, another successful Trump Day. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Up next, Rob Carson. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month, as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
Flatfeenashville.com, flatfeenashville.com.